Hello there, here we are in the beautiful region of Puglia. Today I am showing you a stunning masseria. Now we are literally 5 minutes from Carovigno, so we're in a very good area, and the beautiful thing about this masseria here is, to begin with, you actually don't see the masseria at all from the main road. So it's actually very hidden away, and we have this beautiful long driveway as you drive up through the land, which does belong to the property. Now specifically we have 8 hectares of land here, so a lot of land, very good size for this type of a property. And then the actual property itself is 400 square meters of property, so a very good size, perfect if you wanted to do a high-end boutique hotel, you know, on the smaller side, but you know, very, very beautiful. And then obviously this property is also needing to be restored. Now there are regional funds now that are just coming into force within the next few days, which you can get a considerable amount back on what you put into these properties. So we're seeing very high demand for masserias, especially in this area. But without further ado, let's start to walk inside, because I just want to show you how the property starts to reveal itself very slowly. And just as you're walking to my right hand side, this was at some point a fully functional masseria. So you do have these little courtyard areas which were basically where the animals used to be kept. So you have obviously these big columns, and then you've got the little hook here where you could obviously hook animals onto here as well. So it is, you know, filled with a ton of these features from a masseria, which again has a lot of history to it, has an incredible date, which I'll get round to, actually written on the wall of the property in the front. But as you can start to see, we are coming in from the side of the property here. So you are seeing the first side, and what we have is what they used to have in these masserias is on the left hand side here, and I will show you more in detail. You have a beautiful garden, which was something that they would have in the more important masserias. So you have beautiful garden area, and then you also have what they call an agrumeto, which is also very sought after. That is where they actually used to grow oranges and mandarins, because it's basically an area which is surrounded by walls and keeps them protected from the wind, because they obviously suffer the wind a lot. But let's start to see the back of the property. So you can kind of see this property is on a hill, and so it means that the top side, it revolves on 2 floors. So the top part actually has beautiful views over the front of the land. And maybe let's start to walk through, because we do have a lot to show you today. You can see we've got all the antique stones, that the original stones are still here in many sections of the property. Now this here is the garden. Obviously it's overgrown at the moment, so it's quite difficult to show you, but we're going to put in some shots here and there of the inside of this garden, because you have these beautiful pathways that are all laid out by the stone, as well as a bench and chairs at the back, and it's so tucked away, it's hidden away. It really does give you that secret garden feel to it. Now we're going to come back here, so we're going to start from the very end of the property, but you can already start to see the views kind of seeping through the little gap in the property there. So we're coming down to the end of the property, so we'll start from this side. Now what you can see here, obviously the roof has caved in, so you need obviously to sort this property out. It's very much the worst condition of the property itself. So here you have to completely redo the roof, and you can see obviously there's a lot of grass growing inside. But the idea behind this would be to have maybe a separate independent apartment separate from the main house, and you do like a kitchen and also bedroom, and just kind of have its own just kind of ensuite bathroom, and it really caters to that kind of a size. And as you can say, the roof has fallen in, so you'd need to do a substantial amount of work on this section here. This is a doorway. Again, probably you'd want to open this up so that you can use this maybe as part of the bathroom. There's obviously a lot of choices to be made in this property, so it depends on your needs what you actually decide to do with it. Now, I'm just going to come on top of here, because here we can start to see the views which I mentioned to you earlier. You can just see how beautiful this land is as well. And we've got views which carry all the way down to the end of the border of the land. Again, it's 8 hectares and it includes all the land that you see, all the way up until you can see those canes that are growing taller. That is the border of the property on that side, but maybe we can put up a plan just to kind of show you how the land actually surrounds the property. Now, this is a nice little cute terrace as well, and it's filled with cisterns here and there, this property. Now, talking about cisterns, this property does actually have an artesian well as well, so it's already supplied by water, which is a massive bonus. Now here you can start to see this is another little apartment which they already started to do some work on. So you've got the exposed stones, and this could give you a really good idea of what this property could come out like. You've got a very cute fireplace in here as well, and the floors are completely new as well. So they've gone for the pietra leccese style, which is fitting in a masseria of this kind. Now, if you come through here, this is what they envisaged as having a large bathroom for this apartment. And that's really the thing, like they very much kind of had this in mind, that already this property would be all about smaller apartments that are all maybe connected with a communal room below. So if you do a bed and breakfast, everyone can have breakfast down in the lower part, and this would be the bedroom where obviously we've got some stunning views, and obviously we'll show you better with the drone footage the surrounding land as well, because you do have a balcony here as well. So coming back on ourselves, we're coming back through the apartment here, and we're actually going to go downstairs from here, rather than, you could walk around from the outside, but we're just going to come from these stairs, which are the original stairs in this property. And this brings you to yet another sort of independent apartment area with a beautiful fireplace. We've got a very large fireplace. Look how tall the ceilings are in this room. Obviously here we've got the height of the full building here. So whereas the other section is just the top floor side, this extends the whole way up. So you've got these beautiful star vaulted ceilings. Please show them the fireplace in here, which is a very good size fireplace. The floors are the original chianche that they had from the olden days. So these remain the same as they were previously. And again, some work has been done here. The idea here was to have, again, a bathroom set up. So bathroom in here, little kitchenette just out there. And you can see in here all the plugs and the pipe work has been already kind of put in place. So, you know, they obviously decided to not move forward with doing the rest of the work, but it's good to have that there is work that's already been done. Now, the other thing is, I'm going to show you the other side of this wall, because potentially you could open up a door here, depending on what you wanted to do, and this could then become an area which is connected to the rest of the house, which we're now going to go from the outside. So you can see what we came out of. Just show them the door that we came out of, because, you know, these are details that are, you know, incredible. It's incredibly peaceful here. I can't stress enough just how private this property is, and that's a massive plus in these types of properties. You don't want to be overlooked, and you are definitely not overlooked by any other property in the area. So a massive plus from that point. And now we actually come round to the front of the property here. So you can see just how pretty it is from the front. And again, I'll be putting in some drone shots to kind of show you how it sits raised above the rest of the land. And when I was talking about the date earlier, we do actually have written on the front of this property 1817. So this is the type of date that we're talking about when we're talking about this property. And it's obviously beautiful to have that kind of a confirmation, because it's not often that we can tell you exact dates of when these properties were built. But you can see it right there. In fact, this doorway here, you can see there's an archway here. This probably would have been the main doorway of entrance into the property years ago. So it may obviously also be an option for someone to again open this up and maybe bring it back to its original aspect. Now coming through here, I do want to show you something very nice, because there's a huge key for this. There's only one of them. So the owners have told me be very careful with this, because these are not very easy to double. And you can see just how today it's still the main lock for the house. And I think that says it all about what's to come. So coming through here, so you can see here, again, very tall ceilings. We've got the whole height here, very similar to what we just saw. And this is where we came from, right? So this is where potentially you can open up a door and then have it, you walk through and have the whole house connected. It's very much going to depend on how you're going to use this place. This fireplace is something which, you know, could be straight out of a museum. Again, the history in this property, it just, when you come in here, you do really feel like you are walking into the past. And we've got these beautiful archway here, which you can kind of see continues into the other room. So potentially here, and maybe I'll try and open up one of these windows here. See if we can get some light in here. Yeah, that works. So potentially you could remove this wall and have this all as one large room, which I would suggest probably doing, because this becomes a very awkward room. It's kind of in the middle and you're just like not sure what to do with it, rather than just have this wall removed and then just have it all as one open room, which probably most likely would have been the case again when this property was built, and then over the years, maybe for whatever reason, they needed to divide up this main area. Now coming through here, we've got this final area here, which is, this is where they would actually make cheese in the corner here. You can see there's a fireplace, and it's sort of what would have been back in the day the kitchen area. Obviously it's quite dark at the moment, but you can kind of get an idea again of the type of property we're talking about. And they would have also been allowed to have the animals come in here as well. Again, all the floors in here are the original floors, and we do also have a bit of a storage space here and even below there as well. Very useful to have. But again, here we've got lower ceilings. There's still star vaulted ceilings, so they're still very pretty. And obviously, whoever restores this property is going to end up with something really rather special. So coming back here, you can see we've got a cistern here again, but I can't stress enough, we have an artesian well here, so you're not going to have any problems for water. Now, an artesian well, for those that don't know, is actually where they dig down to the point where there is water below, and you end up basically paying for whatever the pump uses to pump up the water. So it's very convenient to have it. The other alternative, if you don't have an artesian well, is you have a cistern, and a truck has to come in whenever you fill the cistern. So it's a very different thing, and those artesian wells are definitely worth having. So again, just looking at the property, you can kind of get an idea again of the size as well. So as much as I love large masserias, I often think it's actually quite difficult to restore them, because many times the lower parts are very large rooms without having, you know, smaller rooms that are maybe more catered to people living in them, because in the masserias they were actually made for animals below, and they often, you've got these large rooms but not much of a property that it actually can be lived in. I think this is the opposite of that. It's actually tons of smaller apartments, and that's why it would kind of cater very much to a boutique hotel. So coming up here, this is probably one of my favorite parts of the property. Again, it very much feels like another secret garden. This is the agrumeto, which I mentioned to you earlier, is where they have the mandarin trees and the orange fruit trees. Again, we are surrounded by walls here, so it's all kind of protected from the elements, and that's why they would always have these agrumeto. Now I can see a table and chair in here. I can see people having breakfast in the morning and just falling in love with this area. So it's an absolutely beautiful space, again with tons of features here and there, which I don't have enough time to actually mention all of them. Now, just before we do the last part, I kind of want to show you, even from the ground floor here, these are the views. It is absolutely stunning. You can see all the land and it stretches far away around the property. But obviously beautiful to have this kind of a view over the valley in front of the property, and then tons that you could do with this land, right? There's obviously, you know, you're lacking a swimming pool here, so there's to be decided if you wanted to do a swimming pool and, you know, where the section would be. Now, finally, coming back into here, this is the final part of the house. Again, this probably would have been built later on in time, and you've still got the beautiful star vaulted ceilings here. The way I see it, this could be a great common area for when you have, you know, if you're doing a B&B or if you're doing like a boutique hotel, this could be where maybe people dine, and you've got tons of space in here, right? It goes all the way down. Potentially you'd want to look into opening up these windows as much as possible, but also here we've got a large part of it does have the original stones as well. So beautiful just to keep it open like this with the lights coming in from here. The views from this property, everywhere you look, there's something super pretty. Obviously, you have to have the courage. This is a restoration project. It is not ready to be moved into, that's for sure. But I think with a lot of these properties, especially with the funds that are being given by the region, they are incredible investment opportunities. And obviously, you can create something which is going to be worth a lot more than what you bought it for, especially considering the money back from the region. So I'm just going to kind of do the last part here, which is this outside area. Here we have a pizza oven, a very good sized pizza oven. Again, this is all the original pizza oven, so again, very historical part of the property. And what I envisage as a very pretty part of the property is this little area here, which I won't go in because it's a little bit overgrown, but if you just show them this, again, the way I see it, a perfect area for dining away from the wind, and, you know, obviously very close to the pizza oven, so I can imagine table and chairs here, and, you know, dining in the evening, maybe when it's a little bit cooler and you want to be away from the actual wind itself. Now the land continues all the way around, and I will show you obviously those drone shots to kind of give you a better idea of the land itself. But I think that's pretty much everything we had to tell you about this property. But obviously, if you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to get in touch. Thank you very much for watching.